It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, a good day, everybody. Welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brian Bergner, and we're happy to welcome into the studio today a friend, someone who has visited with us before, but there's always interesting things to talk about when we chat about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And Brian Bergner is a development specialist with that organization, and so we will say good day to you, Brian. Happy to have you in the studio.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today. It's a beautiful day in Cottonwood today, and would love to get any chance we can to talk about Yavapai Big Brothers, Big Sisters and our mission and what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, I want to say this up front, and we'll visit on this a bit through the program, but coming up, you do have a pretty big event. I think one of the signature events on your calendar for the bigs and littles. Follow the call of the disco ball. I saw that across your website, and I thought I better break out my high-heeled shoes.
Yeah.
Talk to me just a little bit up front about that. And then I want to ask you, what makes a good big brother or big sister? But first, this event's a big one.
Sure, yeah. It's Saturday, November 12th at Prescott Resort, and it is our annual gala, which is typically our largest fundraiser every year for the program. And it is Follow the Call to the Disco Ball, so 70s disco is our theme. And so we're going to have all kinds of great things like disco balls hanging from the ceiling, and we're going to have disco girls dancing in the hallway, and we're going to have a VW bus, I hear, is making an appearance. We're going to have the Corvette crew, and Prescott's going to have the 70s Corvettes parked outside, and the whole theme. And we're going to have some colored dance floor right out of Saturday Night Fever.
All right.
And so with the music, entertainment, and the live auction and everything involved, it's going to be a great time. And yeah, so we're looking forward to that on November 12th.
Dust off my leisure suit, I guess. All right. I really can remember those. There you go. We'll look for John Travolta at this kind of thing. Well, that sounds like fun, and why not have a good time? And one of the things I know when we talk about Big Brothers, Big Sisters, now this is you're with Yavapai, Bigs and Littles, but this is a national organization, and I think most of our listeners probably have some idea of what Big Brothers, Big Sisters is, mentoring programs for young people. Tell me, is there one thing that is a misconception? Is there something that you kind of hear from time to time that people don't quite understand about this program?
A lot of times we get confused with, at least in my time so far, with the Boys and Girls Club and what they do.
I see that.
They're more of an after-school program, things like that, whereas we're more one-to-one mentoring. We set up relationships with bigs and littles,
right.
And we've matched them carefully together. We have professional counselors on staff that are hard at work doing that every day. So, so that would be probably the biggest misconception between the Boys and Girls Club and Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters and National is that it's two separate things.
Right.
But a lot of times between the boys and the girls, and we understand the confusion, but that's usually what we're shouting is we're one-to-one mentoring, and everybody needs a mentor in their life.
I can kind of see that. A lot of us were fortunate enough to grow up with fathers in the home or a strong. I'm a guy, so I'm going to speak from a guy's perspective, but certainly girls and need big sisters too. This applies across the board, across the gender divide, or uncles or whatnot. But some kids, for whatever the circumstance, don't have that in their life. And is it right that primarily we're looking for young people who maybe have a single parent at home and mom works a lot, or what kind of scenarios?
We actually, at least in Yavapai County, we serve all kinds of families. We have kids that have one parent in the home. We have kids that might be living with their grandfather or grandmother because their parents are in a situation that the kids can't help. Whether it could be in jail, it could be separated, whatnot, depends.
Right.
But we also serve plenty of kids that have two parents and they're working. And they want that extra help, and they want that extra mentor in the kid's life and things like that. So we serve lots of regular families too. It's not just the kids that are maybe, getting a bad start in life or whatnot. It's definitely on both sides.
I would say, given that, because that was something I misunderstood, a tiny bit, that parents who find themselves in that situation and are not able to kind of provide a little extra time or expose their kids to something different that they themselves don't have the resources perhaps to do, should reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, growing up, when I grew up, my dad worked and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she took care of us. And then, but I've coached kids over the years that both parents worked, and now you have kids. I was talking to someone the other day. You have kids now that are working to help, support the family and how things are going. So it's the family dynamics have changed, and obviously we're here to help support, any way we can, and get those mentorship relationships going and help these kids out.
It seems, I'm just kind of guessing that it's always there's probably always a supply of littles. The bigs are tougher to come by.
That's correct. We have about 200 matches right now in our program.
Okay.
But we have about 65 kids in wait. In addition to that are in the program. They are receiving services from us. They are receiving benefits, but they have not been matched with a big yet. So that's why we are always recruiting in almost anything we do.
Well, let's get right to that. I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is talk with people. I can just rattle off some of the excuses I know are probably almost tattooed on your head. I don't have enough time. Things like that. Everybody's pinched. Everybody's pushed. But is there a generic blueprint for what it takes to become a successful big brother or big sister?
The will to help someone, and a kid at that, and also, our base time is 8 hours a month. That's kind of what we tell everybody, and 8 hours a month is enough.
Right.
And we're not expecting our bigs to be parents. We're not expecting them to step into that parental role. We want them to support the young people, and we want them to be an ear for them, those young people to talk to.
Right.
And maybe a shoulder to cry on, a hug. Just to spend time with them. That's what they're for. That's what they're there for. And so it is. We have in that amount waiting for bigs. So we're hoping as we continue to recruit and things like that, that we'll be able to start matching those kids.
I remember talking years ago with someone from your organization, and to me, again, looking from the outside in and not having the relationship with your program that so many good people do have, I would think, well, I've got to amuse this young'un. I've got to entertain this kid. I got to take him or her to a theme park. I've got to do it, and I know that's not right. What is there anything such as a typical day or a typical experience that a big would experience with a young person?
Sometimes it's as simple as sitting down and fill out a college application.
Yeah.
It could be helping them pick their classes, as a freshman in high school. It can be, talking to them about, the relationship with a teacher and how that they can, making sure they're turning in their homework and, things like that. It could be anything really. It doesn't have to be taking a kid to a movie or, like you said, a theme park or something like that. It could be just talking on the phone even for an hour and listening to them and any problems that they might have. And, it's just being part of that, being part of their life. We serve kids ages 6 to 18, and now we are now expanding our program to age 24. So we have kids of all ages in the program. Okay. And so it gives our bigs a chance to really be matched with someone that they're, can help right away.
Right. What is that kind of process when, say, I want to volunteer as a big brother? Are there criteria? I'm thinking we do kind of follow boys with men, girls with women. Is that a hard, fast rule? Is there?
As far as I know, yes, that's how it works.
Totally makes sense.
There's an application process. They come in, you get fingerprinted, you get interviewed by our program staff.
Sure.
In different levels of interviews, they review your application and kind of see, where you're coming from and maybe if you have motives or not, things like that. So It's really you have to. It is a thorough process that takes a while. It's not something that just you do it within a weekend and you're done. It takes a little while to get going and get matched. And so it's just part of that whole thing is making sure we're protecting the families and the kids,
right.
So that we're bringing in people that are on the up and up and want to be there to help.
Sure.
So,
do I need to have had my own kids? Maybe my kids are raised and gone. I mean, it seems like that could hold people up if they're unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of people that don't have their own kids that are bigs, and a lot of young people in their 20s out of college looking for work, and they want to start that process, and so there's all kind there, and there's plenty of there's plenty of people that are bigs that have had kids and they're gone. There's a lot of grandparents, older people that are bigs in our program that have grandkids
because they bring the wisdom.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Well, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue to talk about that. I want to also find out about how, if there are families or youngins and families who would like to get their child enrolled or involved in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, how they would go about doing that. The website is azbigs.org, and you can take a look there. Follow the Call of the Disco Ball, comes up on November 12th. A great way to raise funds and to have a good time. That'll be at Prescott Resort. We'll talk a bit more about that. Our guest is Brian Bergner with Big Brothers Big Sisters in Yavapai County. I'm Brad Miller. Countywide is back after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley for 38 years, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust, designed, engineered, and built in the USA. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates on systems that are quiet and affordable. Verde Solaire is locally owned since 1983 and available for all your heating, air conditioning, and plumbing needs. Call 928-567-5315. Visit them online at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Taxes. It's that time again. This is Lewis with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. We don't sell cars, we don't do hair or wait tables. We do taxes. At Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, we talk taxes and we prepare taxes. Open year-round for tax filings. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona. For over 20 years, our local preparers have helped neighbors pay their fair share and no more.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in the Tri-Cities at 772-7872. That's 772-7872.
And we come back to the program, and again, our guest in studio for Countywide today, Brian Bergner, Development Specialist with Big Brothers Big Sisters. And Brian, you've been around, you're very familiar with this area, and I know I've already met a lot of folks, but just kind of chatting about how to identify, or if young people, and probably parents or their caretakers are going to be the first to think about this, how do you kind of find and identify young people who would be part of, who might benefit from the Big Brothers Big Sisters program?
A lot of times it's just our presence in the community, whether we're doing events like the gala, or Bowl for Kids' Sake, right. Or we do like the annual symposium at Yavapai College, or we do, a third-party event like Panera Bread is hosting one for us, in December. It's really a chance to be in the community, and then the families see that we're in the community, they hear our mission, and then they go, you know what? I'd like my kid to be involved in that, and then they come to us, and they want to be involved, and that's typally they usually come to us. So
they reach out.
Absolutely, most of the time they reach out. But we do have program in our program department. We do have a recruitment specialist that we just hired. So there's going to be all kinds of new things coming up that they're going to be purposefully searching out and helping find these kids and bring them in and their families. So it's going to be both sides. It's really exciting in the direction that we're going. As a Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters as a whole.
You mentioned that you have coached sports, and I know a lot of times young people will reach out to coaches for things that have nothing to do with the game at hand. And similarly, school teachers are going to see maybe things about young people. But I know that it can get tricky when there's, I don't want to say the word intervention, but when you've got someone like that, an adult who has become a point of confidence for the kids, or someone that they have felt they can go to. But it gets kind of tricky for coaches or clergy or school teachers or whomever to kind of further that child's push toward Big Brothers or other similar kind of programs. Do you have any connection through schools, or is that...
Right now, we do. I mean, at the moment, we don't. But what we have, there's a program that we have. It's actually Bigs at the high school level. They are kids that are in high school. They volunteer their time, and they help. We are in the schools themselves. It's an on-campus program. It's supervised by teachers and administrators, things like that, and they help those kids out that way. And so that's another way, obviously, even just to recruit kids, and maybe the kids that are doing it were littles themselves at one time.
Sure.
So that's one way we kind of get involved in terms of the educational side of things, and that way and then the families see that, and of course. The families are, part of that process.
Right.
Do you want your kid to be involved in this? It's only going to be on campus. And sometimes that's a safety net for mom and dad or mom or grandparents.
I was going to say,
they can do it and they don't have to leave school.
There's comfort for parents in that setup. Whereas we talk about Bigs, the more traditional design, Bigs and Littles, kind of a mentorship. Whereas if they're all going together, say in the high school level, that's a peer type of thing, a little bit closer in age, a little bit more about, well, here's what I'm going through. Oh, I'm going through it too. Right. That sounds strong. That sounds great.
And you have high school kids that, as far as I know, they do visit even the younger kids in elementary and whatnot. So
makes sense.
So it's not just high school; it's throughout the program.
Yeah, it makes sense. You said something there a moment ago about they may have been littles themselves. I'm guessing a lot of people who were littles would go on to become Bigs at some point nationally.
You would certainly think so nationally, and you don't have the numbers or the research on that, but I'm sure it's somewhere.
Yeah.
And but of course, I think a lot of kids that are littles at one point, they want to turn around and give back, and I've got one of the, golly, I'm going to give a shout out to, but the gentleman that owns TC Carpet Care locally was a little, and then his dad got involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And now he owns the carpet company. He is here locally, him and his wife, and he is now part of our program.
Yeah.
And wants to be a big, he's sponsoring the gala, things like that. So it certainly comes full circle with a lot of people.
I think that's true a lot. If you grow up and your parents are volunteers and involved in the community on that level, a lot of time that becomes a family legacy and moves on, and our communities are all the richer, for having done that. Let's talk a little bit about funding. Clearly, a fundraiser is coming up, so I know that you do accept resources from within the community and whatnot. Is there federal funding, state funding, any of those kinds of things? What kind of keeps the wheels turning?
We are largely philanthropic organization. We also have, of course, monies coming from state and federal level that are grant things. We have a grant writer in our organization that all day she is writing grants and filling out applications for $5,000 here and $3,000 there and maybe a $10,000 other grant from something. So it's just a matter of finding those if we apply, and then meeting those, filling out the applications and then getting picked. Like I mean, you're talking a huge amount of those applications being filled out by nonprofits all over. So it's just, little things like dropping off an application at Target for gift cards and, so there's obviously support but a lot of our funding comes from donors, local sponsorships, events that we do. And the gala, of course, is a big part of that. So it kind of all pieces together.
No better time to come out on November 12th. And we'll talk about that at length kind of in our final segment. I know everybody's tired of talking about COVID, but it pinched off so many different things for so many nonprofit, globally. We all know it. But nonprofits, I know, have particularly struggled. Did COVID have a problem? Were Bigs and Littles separated during that time because of COVID? I would
it was think definitely. So. It was before my time, but all the stories that I hear is that's what happened. But the tools of FaceTime and Zoom and phone calls and making sure that all of our we never closed down. We might have locked our door, but we were there and we were working, and all of us didn't they put in the time to make sure that these things kept happening. And so they have all the littles and the bigs were able to keep their relationships together and continue that. So it might have been a Zoom call instead of maybe meeting at the park one day, but it was definitely an effort, program wide to make sure that stayed going, stayed strong.
Found a way. All right. Well, we'll take another short break. When we come back, some excitement coming up November 12th, the biggest, one of certainly the biggest fundraising events and get to know you events of the year for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program in Yavapai County. Follow the call of the Disco Ball, a fun way to raise funds and to reach out, and we'll talk about that with Brian Bergner, our guest, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we're back with Countywide right after this.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Service for over 25 years and continues to serve the communities in northern Arizona. Jackson Hewitt is here to help you file your personal taxes. As laws and situations change, your local Jackson Hewitt Tax Service professional stays updated to serve you. Drop off or make an in-person appointment. In Flagstaff, call 213-8626. That's 213-8626. That's 213-8626.
The award-winning experts at Verde Solar Services offer the trusted carrier products that help you customize a solution to fit your budget. Verde Solar is a family-owned business serving the Verde Valley for 38 years with the carrier products you can rely on. Carrier AC systems are trusted to bring energy-efficient, quiet, consistent comfort. Call 928-567-5315 for a free assessment of your AC and air quality needs. Verde Solar Services, online at verdesolaire.com, a factory-authorized carrier dealer.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Matthias Sandoval, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure your goals are top of mind. While you can't control the market volatility, we'll focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 634-1044.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Brad Miller. Brian Bergner, a development specialist with Big Brothers Yavapai, Big Brothers Big Sisters, azbigs.org. Take a look at the website for information, especially if you want to become involved as a big or a volunteer. In the meantime, coming up on the 12th of November, one of the biggest events of the year. Brian, talk to me about this excitement happening under the Disco Glitter Dome on the 12th.
Well, it's again our annual gala. It's been a 2-year hiatus due to COVID, so we're bringing it back, which is very exciting. We've got about 325 seats, potentially 330, and we've only got about 25 to 30 tickets left. And so they're going fast. And so we've got a lot of excitement. There's going to be auction, both live and silent. We've got, of course, going to be a great, dinner in the gala, and then we're going to have live music, and we're going to have a special after party at the Elks Theater in Prescott, which is going to be great. And, that's going to be more just continue the celebration and bringing in, maybe it might be a wine pull or, we're going to play games, I'm hearing, like board games. Like, I don't know if it's Twister is involved or what, but it's going to be 70s themed, of course. So it's all about that. And then, we're going to have it's going to be a great time, and it's going to be a great way for not only to celebrate the program, but for people to continue and their support, of Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters. And it's a way if you want to do it, this is the way to do it.
This is the way to do it. Again, that's November 12th, Prescott Resort. Follow the call of the Disco Ball, biggest fundraiser of the year, and important to attend and become a part of. If you have an interest in Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and if you're unfamiliar with that organization, do reach out. And azbigs.org, it's a good website, a lot of good information there, including how to contact the organization if you have questions, you want to make a match, a pairing, or if you want to contribute your volunteerism or other resources, a great way to do it. So, Brian, thank you, and we appreciate the work in our communities that Big Brothers, Big Sisters does, and continued success, sir.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on. And again, I look forward to meeting all the great people at the gala coming up.
It'll be fun. That's Countywide. I'm Brad Miller, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.